Boyd is a true competitor, a true champion. He's the best.
I think he likes the underdog story.
The ultimate horse is a horse that's good at every different discipline.
He was the little black pony that nobody wanted, but there was something special about him. He's not what everybody expects.
He likes to know he's doing stuff right. Very competitive.
Team USA had to win. They took a chance. Everything just happened so quick. Split-second reactions. It takes a very, very special kind of horse to keep fighting and keep going for you. We're going to come out blazing.
Boyd is a very well-known person. There's a very few elite people in the US as far as eventing goes.
I was a kid from Australia that came to America for the first time on a cargo plane. I was very, very lucky to have parents that encouraged me to chase this dream of being a great horseman. Been hard at it now for 25 years and I still feel like I'm learning stuff every day. You need to spend thousands of hours, you and your horse, of trying to get better all the time. For me, I get a real buzz out of it. I get to do something that I love every single day. The ultimate horse is a horse that's good at every different discipline. They've got to be fancy in the dressage, they've got to be fast and strong and brave in the cross country, and then they've got to be careful and sharp in the show jumping. It's a very, very difficult horse to find because if you have one weakness, really, you're out of the competition.
Thomas is my all-time favorite. He was nothing, to look at. He was short, he was small. He was the little black pony that nobody wanted, but there was something special about him. I actually went up to Missouri through Dr. Holkamp, who is a breeder of Tricaners, to purchase Tupelo. I purchased her, and he wanted me to buy a different horse, and I wasn't real thrilled about the other horse. And I kept looking in the barn, and I saw that little black gelding back there, and I was like, I want him. He was like, oh, you don't want him? And I was like, yeah, I do. I want him. And then when I heard his name was Thomas, I said, no, I want him. Well, his real name is Tsetserleg. It's a city in Mongolia, but I'd much rather call him Thomas because Thomas is a family name. My husband is Thomas E. Turner IV. My daughter is Tommy. So Thomas, it just seemed like it had to be. Boyd's just a wonderful rider. We first met right after I'd purchased Thomas. We hit it off.
I was teaching a clinic in Waco, Texas. I remember teaching Thomas as a very, very young horse.
My last rider before Boyd quit. He had had the horses for about 2 years, and he just quit. So we sent him to Boyd. I knew Boyd would do him well.
To be quite honest, when Thomas first came to me, I didn't think he was quite talented enough. When he arrived, he just looked like a bit of a fuzzy pony. In the dressage training, he really didn't show off much. In the jumping, he didn't really explode over the jumps like you'd want them to, and cross country, he sort of was almost a bit lazy. I rang Christine up and said, I'm not sure about this horse.
Boyd was kind of like, well, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work.
She was adamant that this horse was a champion and told me to stick at it.
I think I was known as the crazy Texas lady.
I took him to his first competition and I could not believe how much the horse changed. In the dressage, he starts prancing around. I'm like, holy moly, what have we got here? And then the cross country, I'll never forget it. Like, he went out of that starting box and his ears pinned back and he just grew wings.
He said, I got on the cross country and all of a sudden he was pulling me at these jumps, and I was like, well, maybe we have something here.
Never had a horse like it, where all of a sudden at the competition, when the lights were on, he just had that champion spirit. So as soon as that first competition was over, I took him a lot more seriously as we really started to build a partnership. In 2018, Thomas and I had the opportunity of a lifetime. We got selected for the American team at the World Equestrian Games, and to ride for America in front of an American crowd at the World Championships is a dream come true. Thomas was probably a little bit inexperienced for the contest, but he was so good at Kentucky earlier that year, I really thought he was in with a chance. We did a phenomenal dressage. I couldn't believe how well he went. He got the highest score out of the American team.
Lloyd Martin with Christian Turner, Tsetserleg.
Never forget the roar of the crowd. It was a tough cross-country day. We were the second American horse out. I got to say, I think I was a little bit nervous and tense, and everything just happened so quick. Split-second reactions. There was a boat in the water, and I basically pulled back when I should have sent him forward, and it was just a horrible, horrible mistake.
To see, them miss that jump, it was just like, oh.
Thanks to my mishap at WEG, America wasn't qualified for the Olympics. That was the first time in my whole life that I'd ever failed on a national team. You see your teammates and the coach and all these people that had believed in you, and you basically let everyone down. It was just a crushing moment, and at that time, you just wanted to dig a hole and hide.
I know Boyd was just totally torn. It just tore him apart.
Very silent in the barn for a couple of weeks after. And you just kind of kept your head down and waited until he wanted to speak.
WEG was a terrible time, and we all felt it. We all knew. It wasn't like, how many jumps did they jump and how many did they miss? But it was a very important jump. And I felt like maybe I should have given him the bigger, sleeker horse, and maybe it was my fault. Thomas knew that something had happened. There was a different horse there for a little while. He was just kind of depressed.
I heard all the remarks and comments. I read the magazine. This horse was a dud. I choked. Should never have picked that horse. Wasn't an international horse. Should have gone with that horse. I was absolutely determined to turn things around. Picking myself up, picking him up after that and saying, righto, we're not going to be remembered for letting everyone down at Tryon. Thomas always turned up to work when conditions haven't been friendly.
It was a setback, and it made him work harder. Thomas's past was forgotten, and you could see Thomas kind of coming out of it. I think that once they've survived that, we're good as gold.
Just before Kentucky, we had our lead-up event, which was at Tryon. And I couldn't believe it when I walked the course. It was the exact same water jump to which I'd had my worst ever moment on the year before. It was almost surreal. I'd gone through that jump 1,000 times in my mind, thinking about what I should have done, what I could have done. I came down to the jump, jumped in and pushed Thomas on, and he flew over the sailboat.
And they pulled it off just perfectly.
It was almost a feeling of redemption. I don't think I could have done much better, but I was just relieved. It was just, thank God.
They are going to do it. They're going to do it. They won that show.
At Kentucky, he finished second to Oliver Townsend. They give a trophy to the highest place American. To be honest, it was nice, and it was a cool trophy and a great moment, but I want to win.
Thomas is the first priority every morning. He's one of my favorite horses. He's the man. He's the king. This is all about Thomas.
It's a massive project trying to get a horse to this level. You need great people looking after them in the barn, doing a spot-on job. You need the best feed, the best grain. We talked to the specialists at SmartPak, told them about Thomas, his weaknesses, his strengths, and they formulated a SmartPak for him, and it's been just a really, really convenient, consistent way to make sure that he's getting all the necessary supplements every day. And there's no question that that attention to detail improved him instantly.
I find him really funny. Like, he has a really big personality. He's very easy to care for. Around the barn, I'd say he's like kind of a goofball. He's very curious and he like wants to be involved in what you're doing. But at the show, he's very workmanlike.
He'll go out there and you take him cross country and he sees a jump and he narrows in on it and he's ready to jump it. It's amazing, you know? He's just got something that I've never seen in another horse. Next thing I knew, we went from not being on the team to being asked to represent the team on the Pan Am Games.
Team USA had to win the gold or silver at the Pan Americans to get qualified for the Olympic Games in 2020. And I thought, wow, this is deja vu all over again. I knew I was a better rider. I knew my horse was better. I knew that I knew him through and through, but it was an eerie feeling going to Lima, representing America, and cross country, the pressure was on. If I screwed up again, all hell would break loose. I knew that this was my moment to prove everyone that this horse was a champion.
Boyd always says, if the stars align, and he's totally right. Everything has to go the right way.
The Americans kind of held the lead after the dressage phase, and then cross country came around.
I was just on a mission to ride as well as I could to go clear for myself, for the horse, and for the country.
He was absolutely great. They were in the lead after cross country, and then show jumped over clear the next day. He won the gold medal at the Pan Ams, and we're going to the Olympics.
Going up on that podium for the team and then going up as an individual for Thomas and Christine, you know, it's a moment you'll never forget.
It was amazing. It took about a month before it actually sunk in. We really won.
Christine Turner and her daughter, without question, have been the biggest believers and the biggest supporters. Having them there at a lot of these important moments in his career and seeing how happy and pleased they are with their horse is a really satisfying feeling for me as the rider.
When Thomas is ready and he's done everything he can do, then he will come home to Texas. And I look forward to that in my own little way. I love watching him be amazing with Boyd. I love watching them be a pair, but Thomas will come home to me. You're gonna make me cry. Thomas has grown with Boyd. I can't see anybody else ever riding Thomas like that. They showed everybody that they could do it as a team.